Guitar Solo Countdown.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Jimmy Wolf's Guitar Solo Countdown. Guess what? We got another album shootout here. We got Guns N' Roses is.
Guns N' Roses is.
Okay, so
Guns
this is
N' Rosei.
Guns N' Rosei. So this is their second and third full-length records released at the same time with the same title. We got Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. I think Jeff's got it too. There you go. Yeah, number 1 and 2. The famous orange and blue combination. Yeah, so I think with Guns N' Roses, I mean it's understood that the first album is the iconic Guns N' Roses album that everyone knows. These albums were huge when they came out. I don't know if time has been particularly friendly to them. I don't know. What's your opinion, Jeff? Are they do they hold up?
They certainly do, Mr. Wolf.
I mean, I think they do too. Yeah.
Like you said, though, nobody on earth would say that the Use Your Illusions are better than Appetite. I've yet to find a human being that would deign to make that argument.
Yeah.
However, that's for another day, Mr. Wolf. Today we're debating the merits of Use Your Illusion 1 versus Use Your Illusion 2.
Okay, and we're gonna do a little twist this time. We're doing track by track.
Yes.
Track versus track. Yeah. So just a quick overview of what I think of these albums. So I heard Axl say that he wanted to bury Appetite with these two records. So he wanted to do something different. You know, he didn't want to have to try to compete with Appetite. He wanted to just try something totally new. And I get a real Southern rock kind of modernized Leonard Skinner vibe from these records. I think the reason is the addition of the keyboard player, right? So it's kind of more of
Dizzy
that.
Reed?
Yeah, Dizzy. Yep. So it's got more of that kind of honky tonk kind of Southern vibe to it. You know,
Whoa. Dizzy or Izzy?
Gets a little confusing. And there's also and Izzy sings in a few of these songs too, right? So Axl seems like he's sharing the vocal duties on a few tracks.
Also, I think it can be said that during the tour for Use Your Illusion, I think so it came out in 91, correct? The end of 91?
Yes.
Right. So I think in early 92, I think Izzy left the tour.
Yes. Yeah.
Was he kicked out or did he just leave of his own accord?
I think he left.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the underlying vibe, which is the other thing I wanted to bring up, was Axl's getting a little rock starry, a little too big, maybe in the head.
The word megalomaniacal comes to mind.
Okay, yeah, there you go. And I think Izzy was the first guy to say, "Screw this! Like, I'm out of here." I think Duff and
I don't
Slash,
need $500,000 a night. Fuck you, Axl.
Yeah, pretty much. And I get the feeling on this album too, like whether it's good or bad. I think it's more bad than good, but I think Axl's trying to be like a classic rock star, like kind of in the vein of like an Elton John or a David Bowie or a Freddie Mercury. Like he's trying to be more than what he was, and I don't think he pulls it off. You know, I think he has the. That's my opinion. He's a little too. His ambitions exceed his talents.
Wow. That is a bold statement, sir.
Yeah. That's what I think.
I'm not sure if Kitty agrees with you on that one, Jimmy.
Okay, on these albums, I'm not I think when Axl is in his zone with Guns N' Roses, it's perfect. But I think when he goes a little too far out, tries to be a little too big or too much, I don't know. That's my opinion. At least I feel it on these two records.
Are you saying you don't approve of him jumping off of an aircraft carrier in the video for Estranged?
No, I don't like that.
So, as a side note, in that video, we're talking about Izzy leaving.
Yeah.
I heard, so part of the, one of the things that upset the rest of the band, they had to pay $1 million for that one shot in that video for Axel to jump off that aircraft carrier because he wanted to, and the band were pissed because it's their money that he spent, and he was only the one that jumped off the aircraft carrier. So you're right, things are getting a little out of hand. The money that was spent on this album was ridiculous. The money for the videos was ridiculous, and the tour was fairly ridiculous. Like I think in their, they were traveling with 30 plus musicians, full horn section, and a tambourinist. Like it got way out there. A saxophonist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So. Yeah, backup singers, the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, but having said that though, like it kind of played into the brand of the band being these excessive rock stars, which I think helped them too. So like that's where it gets a little confusing. I mean, I think Axl's irrational exuberance is helped them short term.
That's very well said.
It didn't help them long term, but it definitely. I think it helped sell these records. It helped the headlines. They had those. He'd refuse to go on stage, and he'd sit back in the change room while there's a riot going on, and like just all kinds of.
He refused to do interviews during that time, unless no interviews. Okay. Unless I think a few people got interviews with him, like a Rolling Stone, I think got one, maybe Spin, but like when it came to press, he's like, I'm not doing press for this. Arrange it. I can remember even Much Music did an interview with the band, and they were in their tour bus, and Axl Rose was riding a bicycle outside. Outside the tour bus, like you could see him on his BMX bike, and then he came in and he smashed the window and gave him one of these and rode his bike again. So very, very self-indulgent. To me, these are the sounds of two albums of a rock band that can do no wrong. Like Oasis, Be Here Now. They had no one's telling them no. They have all the money in the world behind them. Anything goes. I mean, if you want to record the toilet while someone's taking a shit, they were going to do that. You want to jump off an aircraft carrier, sure.
Yep.
You want Alice Cooper to come do a background vocal, sure. Like anything you want, anything goes. So I love that about Be Here Now, Oasis, and to be perfectly honest, I love that about this too.
So do I. Yeah.
He said, "We've got all the money in the world. Why not? I want to whatever I want is what I'm going to get," and he got exactly what he wanted. Unfortunately, the band imploded, but that's another story. So
it is, yeah. I mean, realistically, these are the last true Guns N' Roses albums, right? I mean, I wouldn't really consider the Spaghetti Incident a proper record since it's covers. No. And I mean, Chinese Democracy. I mean, that I hear that as an Axl Rose solo record. It's kind of like Guns N' Roses in name only.
True.
So I mean, I think it's basically Appetite and these two. Really, that's really their true discography.
I agree.
Which is pretty small. I mean, but there is a lot of material on these records. Like this would be considered a quadruple record back in the 70s, right? Because these are close to 80 minutes long, right? So a lot of material. Cool. All right, Jeff. Well, let's start. So, okay. So right off the top. Okay. Don't tell me which one is your favorite. We're gonna do that at the end. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it'll become obvious throughout the show as the numbers climb, but.
Before we go any further, what do you think is going to be the odds that we choose the same one?
Yeah, I think it's pretty high. I think it's pretty high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I do too.
So I just a little aside. I know what Jeff's favorite album of the two is, and he knows what mine is. So it's not going to be a surprise to us, but yeah. All right. Okay. So Use Your Illusion 1 has 2 extra tracks. So I think we're just going to give it a point per track. Okay, so it's already going to be in the lead with those 2 tracks. Use Your Illusion 2 only has 14 tracks. Okay. And then the point system is pretty simple. It's just going to be if it's a point if you choose a song. So maximum of 2 points per song. So yeah, let's get started. So we got Right Next Door to Hell on Illusion 1 versus Civil War, Illusion 2.
Woo! Wait!
All right. All right. Nice. Right Next Door to Hell. Huh? Okay. Okay. I love both these tunes. I think Right Next Door to Hell has like probably one of the coolest riffs on both records. Like that opening riff is killer. But I'm gonna have to go with Civil War on this one. I think it's a little bit more epic. There's it just has a bit more of a heartfelt thing for me. It's a bit more diverse. I love that opening line from Cool Hand Luke, that sample. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with Civil War for this one. All right.
I concur with you, sir, in your Right Next Door to Hell. Great way to start off an album.
Yeah.
For me, though, a little curious as to Civil War starting the album, or number 2 off.
Yeah.
Like normally, I feel you would put something like that in the middle or the end.
Yeah.
However, Civil War all the way. That is one of the greatest songs they ever did. Political, heartfelt.
Yep.
And Axl Rose can be crass. He can be he got his ear to the streets.
Yep.
But it's not very often he gets sympathetic and political. And it really is a different take for them, but one that they did really well. Like I think some people can maybe accuse some of the songs on both these albums to be a little, maybe the intent was there, but the execution is a little off. Civil War is right on every level.
They nailed it.
It's as good as a Guns N' Roses song ever gets. And Civil War, big thumbs up for me. Civil War is the winner for sure.
Okay, boom. Okay, I guess my only thing I can add to that is I do agree. It's weird to start an album on a ballad, but I think if you think of this as one giant record and this is sort of the start of the middle, then I guess that makes more sense. But yeah, it is weird to just start the record with a ballad. But okay, number 2, we got Dust and Bones off of Illusion 1, and we got 14 Years off of Illusion 2. And I think, are they both Izzy sung tracks, I think?
No, 14 Years definitely has some Axl in it.
Okay.
Dust and Bones, I think, is all Izzy Stradlin, though. Just only him.
Okay. Okay, why don't you go first?
I'm going to go 14 Years. I don't particularly feel like Dust and Bones is a very good song. To me, it's definitely one of the... although I am happy that it's nice to see that Izzy's getting his own track and all. I think it bodes well for the group to have somebody who doesn't do lead vocals to do his own song. But it's forgettable, it's not horrible. It's not great. It's just it's here nor there for me. Whereas 14 Years, it's a little more heartfelt. I don't really know what Axe is talking about with 14 Years, but it's obviously some type of reminiscing about something that has had an effect on him, some type of profound effect. And to me, it's a little more. There's a little more substance there, and so 14 Years hands down for me.
Cool. I did check. It is Izzy on 14 Years.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He wrote the song and sings.
He's lead vocal. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think Axl's in the back, but yeah, definitely like the.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, Jack. I'm going to disagree with you. I think Dust and Bones is like one of my favorite songs on this record. I love that song. I love the dark You know, kind of, I don't know, the dark kind of bar room kind of almost has like an old Western kind of vibe to it. I love that. I love 14 Years too. I like them both, but I'm gonna go with Dust and Bones. I like that one.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, I'll take number 3 here. So we got 2 covers. We got "Live and Let Die," which was originally done by Paul McCartney for the James Bond soundtrack. "Live and Let Die."
1980, I believe it was.
The movie.
Yes, I believe.
Oh, 73.
73.
73. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I take that back, sir.
"Live and Let Die" versus "Yesterdays." I'm gonna go with "Yesterdays." I love "Live and Let Die." It actually is one of my favorite songs, but I do not like the Guns N' Roses cover. I don't think Axl pulls it off. Slash's guitar really annoys me. So yeah, I think it's a poorly executed cover. So I'm going with "Yesterdays." I think it's a good song. It fits number 2 really well. It has that kind of mellow vibe that I think they were going for on the first half of this record. So yeah, going with "Yesterdays."
I'm going to agree with you in that I prefer "Yesterdays" over "Live and Let Die." "Live and Let Die" is my least favorite of all the big songs from the Use Your Illusions era. Um, I don't think it's poorly executed, though. I would say it's certainly in tune with the big bombastic, uh, feel of these albums. Orchestration and all that stuff in the background. He chose to cover a big, huge Paul McCartney song. I much prefer the original "Live and Let Die" from Paul
Oh yeah.
McCartney than the GNR version. Um, yeah, to me, it's just "Live and Let Die" is when I hear it on the radio, I would tend to change the station. It's just one of those GNR covers I don't particularly care for. So "Yesterdays" all the way. "Yesterdays"
Yep.
is and as a song on its own merits. It's not one of their more memorable ones, but there's something quaint about it. It's not overly done. It's not super mega produced or anything. It just kind of plods along and kind of a la 14 Years. There's a little bit of reminiscing. Well, it's obviously called "Yesterdays." Um, yeah, I much prefer "Yesterdays."
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, we're on agreement on that one. Okay, so number 4, we got "Don't Cry" on Illusion 1, original. I guess the original lyrics, and then on Illusion 2, we have "Knocking on Heaven's Door." So why don't you take this one?
This is a heavyweight battle right here. Uh, so I'm gonna "Knocking on Heaven's Door" is a fantastic cover by GNR. I love it way more than the Bob Dylan version.
Yeah.
However, I'm gonna side with "Don't Cry" on this one. This is an Axl original. I don't know what it was written about, but Axl kind of opens up the chest cavity and shows you a little bit of his heart on this one. And if anything, Axl Rose, I think the majority of his songs, there's a very much I don't want to use the word facade, but there's a tough exterior to his songs and not a lot of vulnerability. Uh, this is a la Patience for me, where it's just a side of him that it's vulnerable and sweet, and there's no venom or anything in it, which you know, no anger. It's a sweet side of him that he doesn't show very often, and it is very heartfelt. I mean, I'm not going to say it brings a tear to the eye, but like it is a beautifully well written song, and I'm going to go with "Don't Cry" just because it's an Axl Rose original. very beautiful song. I have very fond memories of it, like slow dancing with chicks in high school, and um, yeah, definitely one of the greatest Guns N' Roses hits ever, for sure. And not to say that "Knocking on Heaven's Door" isn't. It's just, you know, if we're gonna go track for track, I obviously got to pick the one that is the one that Axl wrote himself. If we're gonna go with two heavyweights as opposed to a cover, so
Yep.
that's my.
Okay, I 100% agree with you. I'm gonna pick the same. Yeah, I think don't cry was a fantastic single, and like that's kind of for me that's kind of the furthest out I like Guns N' Roses to go with ballads. You know, it's like a nice good. It's a good ballad. It's might be a little softer than what we're used to, but yeah, it totally worked. Also had Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon was singing backup vocals too.
You're right. You're right. Also in the music video for that one, I believe.
Yep, and that's kind of what's kind of broke him a little bit. Actually, I think it was. I guess he was from India, so I think he actually knew Axl from. Was it from Indiana? I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I think James. I'm reasonably. I think I saw the video for. Do you remember the show Pop Up Video back in the day?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm pretty sure I saw "Don't Cry" in Pop Up Video, and I remember it did say that Shannon Hoon knew Axl Rose. I don't know if they were childhood friends, but they knew each other from back in the day. And Shannon Hoon came to LA to make it like, you know, Axl did, and I guess they kind of rekindled friendship.
Okay.
And you're right. I think that once he was hanging with Axl, I think it was the beginning of the road to, you know, his success. I mean, he was suddenly thrust in. I mean, Axl was living like a fucking superstar at the time, right? So even just being his friend would have, you know, he would have had a green light into any club or you know, you're hanging with Axl, you have carte blanche to do whatever you want, and so
yeah, yeah. Okay, so number 5. So we got Perfect Crime on Illusion 1 versus Get in the Ring, Illusion 2. Why don't you go first?
Definitely, for me, very easy. Get in the ring. You know, it may seem a little. He's fighting back at all the naysayers, I think, on this one, and he's, you know, all of his critics. He's basically telling them, giving them the two middle fingers.
Yep.
And however, one thing that does bother me about that song is that he calls out like journalists by name, a few of them in some of these magazines.
He does.
That
Yeah.
I don't know whether they gave, you know, GNR a bad review or something like that, but he calls those guys out. But you know, there was the issue that he had with Vince Neil, and I think there's some veiled, you know, there's some barbs towards Vince Neil on that track.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the balls to call Vince Neil by name. So, you know, you're calling out guys that have can't fight back except by writing another article that, you know, probably no one will ever read.
Yeah.
And you know, he didn't say much about Vince Neil, even though they clearly had a supersized beef. And on that note, too, in the dirt. Now, Axl has never publicly responded about this, but Vince Neil said GNR were a little jealous of Motley Crue's success. They always had a little bit of beef, but there was backstage at some awards show, whatever, that the two of them got into it. And Vince Neil said, I called that pussy out man to man. I said, fuck all this bullshit. Forget all these fucking people around us. Forget the cameras. I'll meet you anywhere you want, man to man, just the two of us, and I'll fucking beat the shit out of you. And Axl Rose said, fine, meet me at the parking lot of the, you know, this liquor store at, you know, blah, 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 at 3 a.m. And Vince Neil said, fine. And he showed up at that parking lot of that liquor store at 3 a.m. on the, you know, strictly by himself. And and no one was there.
Uh,
So
okay.
obviously that's the Vince Neil version,
Yeah.
but anyway, right next, get in the ring. Yeah, he's calling out the naysayers. He does it quite well. Um, I think it's a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for? He's getting things off his chest, and Guns N' Roses were taking a lot of heat at the time. Like for all the record sales that they got, they were taking a lot of shit in the press, and whether it was deserved or not, Axl Rose wanted to fight back, and good on him. It made for a good song. So
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. So I have a slightly different take. So I mean, I do Get in the Ring is cool for what it is. I think I liked it better when I was younger. I think over time it's grown a little. I don't know. It feels a little dated to me. I liked it better when I was younger. So, but I don't hate it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Perfect Crime. And yeah, it's a fast rocker. I love it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Perfect Crime.
sounds good.
Cool. All right, number 6, we got "You Ain't the First," another Izzy song, versus "Shotgun Blues."
I'm gonna clearly go with Shotgun Blues. These are two songs that I don't particularly care for. I mean, You're Not the First again is forgettable for me. It's just not great. And again, I appreciate that Izzy got a chance to do his own thing and all. Just yeah, it's just kind of plods along. I I just don't particularly care for it. Shotgun Blues, therefore, by default, is the better song.
Gotcha.
That's not a song I particularly care for either, but I just hands down I like it better than You Ain't the First.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same with Dust and Bones. I love You Ain't the First. That's just got that lazy acoustic thing. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I like Shotgun Blues too. I love these simple rockers. I think that's what I like that's what I like about Guns N' Roses is when they do stuff like that. It's that southern kind of lazy rock thing. Like that's what I love. So yeah, I'm gonna go with You Ain't the First. Yeah.
It just to interject one more thing, if I kind of feel that You Ain't the First is a little bit like a not as well executed I Used to Love Her. And that's how I view it a little bit. I agree with you. I do like it when they're a little more stripped down and a little more not quite as bombastic. I like that part of what GNR does. I just think they did it much better back in even like the Lies era time. Like those songs on that one are they're kind of like tongue in cheek, and You Ain't the First is very much like that. It's kind of along those lines, and I just feel like they did it better before. But
Gotcha.
anyway.
Yeah, fair enough, man. All right, number 7. Man, there's a lot of tracks here. So we got Bad Obsession versus Breakdown.
So I listened to both these albums in their entirety during over the course of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, driving to and fro from work. I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't remember what Breakdown sounds like. It doesn't come to mind right now. Bad Obsession, decent. It's no November Rain, but it's not skippable on the album. So strictly because I don't remember Breakdown, I'm gonna go with Bad Obsession. I know that's a pretty terrible.
No, it's okay.
Terrible review.
I agree with you. I think Bad Obsession's great. Breakdown is completely forgettable. I mean, it's like over 7 minutes long, and I I honestly can't sing any part of that song back to you like right now. I think it's one of those filler tracks. I like the beginning. The beginning has this kind of, again, this sort of southern country western cowboy old western feel to it, and then it goes into yeah, it's just I think Use Your Illusion 2 tends to be plagued with these really long songs that don't really have a very memorable chorus. And yeah, Breakdown is one of those tunes. It's like, yeah, it's not a very memorable song. It's got okay parts to it, but yeah, Bad Obsession. That's straight up rocker, sleazy. It's great. It totally works. So yeah, I'm definitely going Bad Obsession for sure too. All right. So continuing with the sleaze here, we got Back Off Bitch versus another fairly sleazy song called Pretty Tied Up, about some kinky love. You know. All right. So what do you think? I love both these songs, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like them both about equally. Again, they're both not November Rain.
Yeah.
I like them about equally, but I guess I got to choose one. So it's going to be. I'm going to say just Pretty Tied Up because if I have to pick one, it's just going to be that one. I can't really justify it right now, but I'm going to pick that one.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go Back Off Bitch.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do like them both. They're both sleazy Guns N' Roses, and I like that. If it's them, it's the rock star thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go Back Off Bitch. All right, number 9. So we got Double Talk and Jive versus Locomotive, not Locomotion. All right.
So definitely for me, Double Talk and Jive.
Cool.
That flamenco guitar part at the end is extremely memorable. Very, very different from what you're used to from GNR, but definitely showcases a different skill level. Like Slash's guitar work is all over these albums, but
yep.
I don't know if it's him or Izzy that does that, but regardless, it's fantastic. It's got a really nice feel to it. Just extremely different. They tried to do a lot of different things on this album. To me, that's one of the things that worked really well. Just a little, and again, it's not a whole track full of it. It's not like it's 10 minutes long or anything. Just a little minute, 30-second fade out or whatever it is, 60-second fade out. And it worked really well. It sounds awesome. And all the way, because that part of Double Talk and Jive is so memorable to me all the way, Double Talk and Jive.
Cool. I totally agree with you. I'm going to go the same thing for all the reasons. This cool, heavy track, just sleazy, awesome, and then it goes into that flamenco thing. Just a great dichotomy. It's awesome.
Do you know who does the guitar work on that? Is that Slash or Izzy that does the picking at the end?
That's a good question. Let me take a quick look here. I'm going to guess Slash.
I'm going to guess Slash too, because he does all the main guitar work, but it would be very surprising to me if it was Izzy. But either way, it was very well done. And
yeah, it says Slash classical guitar, which is what that is. So yeah, I'm going to say Slash. Unless there's other, yeah, I don't see anything here. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this one, I think I know what your pick's going to be for this one. So it's the 2 ballads here. So we got November Rain versus So Fun.
This is a landslide victory, James. There's not even a debate to this one.
Okay.
I mean, So Fine is not terrible, but November Rain is epically massive. Decade defining, like definitely in the top 10 greatest songs of the decade. Big, huge, bombastic, 2 mega huge guitar solos from Slash. The iconic Slash on the piano with Axel playing at the end in the video. There's some GNR fans that don't particularly like November Rain, but I would say it is amongst the greatest songs they've ever done. Up there with, Welcome to the Jungle and Sweet Child of Mine. And, for me personally, it is as good as anything on Appetite. And, they just, it's excessive, bombastic Guns N' Roses to the ultimate max. And actually, on the re-release, like whatever 30th anniversary of Appetite box set or whatever, there's a live version of November Rain that they do. That's so obviously it's a song they had it in the can like a long time ago, but like it's almost like Axl knew that, well, let's not waste this on album number one. Let's save this and really do it right. And to me, it is stunning. I've got memories of dancing with girls to this when I was very, very young. The great lyrics. Nothing lasts forever. We both know hearts can change. It's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain. Like, just the lyrics are very evocative. I love every single thing about this song. And, if I may be so bold as to say it is the summit of the Use Your Illusion albums. It is the greatest song out of all the songs on those two albums.
Okay.
That's my opinion about it.
Fair enough. A lot of people agree. Yeah, I'm not one of them.
Whoa!
I've never liked November Rain. I mean, I will say I do like the guitar solos. There's some great guitar work there. The song is heartfelt for sure. Like for me, it's just, I think it's just Guns N' Roses doing too much. They're musically trying to do too much, in my opinion. So I'm actually going to go with So Fine on this one. Yeah, I think So Fine is
a major schism has been reached.
Yes.
Here in the debate.
Yeah. So for me, what I do love about So Fine is I love how like small it is, like how stripped down it is, and it's got Duff on vocals, which I think Duff's great. Duff has that punk rock voice, and yeah, I think it's a different kind of ballad, right? But I really like So Fine. It could be one of my favorite songs on this record. But yeah, you know what? That's it's subjective. I mean, I've heard November Rain so many times. I mean, I like it just because it's historic, I guess, like I respect it because of what it is and what it's accomplished. But yeah, for some reason it just never really resonated. I think that's the reason. I just don't I don't really want Guns N' Roses to do something like that. I'd rather them be sleazy, and if they're gonna have a ballad, just kind of keep it stripped down. Like Don't Cry, or like So Fine. Like for me, those songs are very similar in that, like, they have that same kind of stripped down emotion. It's just like a few guys, like, just like in a room singing, as opposed to like a gigantic orchestra, this wedding, and I mean it's over the top, right? And maybe that's a good thing, but yeah, for me it's not. All right, Jeff. So number 11, we got The Garden versus Estranged.
Oh, man, that is a tough one.
And you mentioned before, Garden has a cameo with Alice Cooper.
Yeah, Axl said about this song, he said he knew that the song had to be sung a la Alice Cooper, so he just said, fuck it, why don't we just invite him to do it? Because if we don't, I'm just going to be doing my best copy of Alice Cooper's voice, so we should just bring him in. I personally don't like Alice Cooper at all. I don't like any of his music at all. However, I absolutely love The Garden. you know what though? I love Estranged as well. Like those are both extremely good songs. But if I gotta get down to brass tacks, I gotta say the Garden for me it's something totally different. It's psychological. It is a little sleazy. Isn't quite the right word. A little, demonic, maybe a little tortured, a little. I'm just going to say, hands down, personally, The Garden is my favorite song on those albums. I think November Rain is the best, but The Garden is my personal favorite. Although I really do love Estranged as well. The song is very well done. Again, I think it's a real personal song for Axl. About it was said that it might be about. It's either about the breakdown of his marriage to Aaron Everly, and also when they were making this album, him and Stephanie Seymour were like the relationship was very tumultuous, and I think they were engaged during the making of Use Your Illusion. I think they broke up fairly soon after the release, maybe during the tour or whatever. Estranged is very heartfelt, but for me, The Garden's my personal favorite song on these two albums. So that I'm gonna go with The Garden.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's another thing I totally disagree with you on. I love Alice Cooper's 70s music, and I do like the two albums released in the 80s, Constrictor and was it Raise Your Fists and Yell, I think, or Raise Your Fists. I'm not sure if I like him in this song. He's got that monster voice. I don't know. It's like he's playing a character of himself, But I do agree with you, though. I think The Garden has some good moments for sure. I do like, the guitar. I like Axl's voice in the verses. Estranged has interesting moments to it. It's just one of those songs where it's just so long, and I don't quite know what the form of the song is. It just keeps kind of changing, and I don't know if there's a chorus or not. So yeah, for that reason, I have to go with The Garden too. But yeah, I do. I mean, some of the 70s Alice Cooper's pretty amazing. I mean, you should definitely check out like $1 Billion Babies. That's
I'm a big fan of the song he did for Axe and Smash, who were Demolition in the WWF.
Okay.
He wrote their theme song. Here comes the Axer, then comes the Smasher.
Okay, cool. All right, number 12. We have Don't Damn Me versus You Could Be Mine. Sorry. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden versus You Could Be Mine.
Clear-cut victory here with You Could Be Mine. With your bitch slap rapping and your cocaine tongue. Dirty, sleazy GNR. Excellent. Made for the Terminator 2 soundtrack. Massive movie.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was the song that came out kind of like right before the albums came out. Because I seem to recall Terminator 2 was like right when the school year started, like early September. And then the albums, I think, came out in October, beginning of October, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, You Could Be Mine. Great song. Straight up rock and roll, heavy. It's dirty, sleazy GNR. That's what I like. Again, like you said, that's what they do best. And to me, You Could Be Mine is GNR in fine form doing what they do best.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. That song hits pretty hard. The intro, pretty amazing. Yeah, that chorus lyric is sick. I remember seeing Terminator 2 in the theater, and that song just yeah, no, for sure. So that's a good one. But I'm gonna go with The Garden of Eden. I like that one better.
Oh!
Yeah, that's a bit of a contrarian choice for sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just love the punk rockness of the Garden of Eden, and I love how it comes after the Garden too. It's kind of like, you know, the two dichotomy of the two songs, right? One's kind of slow and kind of mysterious, and then boom, Garden of Eden, just full on, probably the heaviest, punkiest song that the band's ever done. So yeah. All right, we got 13. So we got Don't Damn Me off Illusion 1 versus Don't Cry, alternate lyrics, number 2.
Again, very, very easy victory here. Extremely self-indulgent of Axl Rose to do one song with two different lyrics.
Yeah.
To me, the second version does not work at all. There is no business to do that. That's a waste of a song, as far as I'm concerned. It shouldn't have been on the album. So just by default, it has to be Don't Damn Me.
Yeah.
But just ridiculous why anyone would ever even think to do that. A song can't have different lyrics. Make a new fucking song if you want to.
Yeah.
It didn't work at all. It's a very indulgent Axl Rose thing to do, and to me, it doesn't work at all. And it's one of those things that gives people license to say, "Oh, the Axl's losing it a little bit." And if I were the band, I think I would have fought a little harder and been like, "Look, this is ridiculous, Axl. Let's just do a new song. Look, there's fucking almost 30 songs on here. Like, you can leave one of them off.
Yeah.
Make it a B-side or something if you wanted to." But yeah, to me, it doesn't work. It should have been scrapped. Don't Cry, the original, pretty much perfect. The second one was a complete disaster.
I totally agree. It sounds like a demo. It sounds like a first draft or something. It's like they improved it on the popular version. It just sounds so much better. Like the melodies are stronger, and yeah, I totally agree. They're just a total waste of a track. Yeah. All right, I'm sure this is another waste of a track to most people. So we got Bad Apples versus My World.
Yeah, My World again does not work.
It's kind of this weird, kind of crappy Nine Inch Nails knockoff or something.
Yeah, I think Axl's trying to put his fingers in too many pies here. Like,
yeah,
Nine Inch Nails does Nine Inch Nails well. Make another You Could Be Mine. Do what you do well. Don't try to get into what Trent Reznor does. And you know what? Actually, that being said, Trent Reznor said that he opened for GNR. Axl asked them to open because he loved Pretty Hate Machine. So
okay.
Trent Reznor was hesitant to open for GNR, but obviously the amount of exposure you get by opening for GNR is incredible. But he said it totally backfired. He said nobody on earth was there for Nine Inch Nails. Nobody. They got booed every night. They got shit thrown at them. It was a hostile crowd every single time they went on stage. And he said, in retrospect, it made them a better band because of all the adversity they had to face for a full 3 months, getting shit on every night and getting spit on and people throwing stale beers. And anyways, that's a side note. Anyways, My World does not work, especially because it's so short too. Like, it seems like a half thought. It wasn't fully expressed. He's even got that stupid voice. Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Which, it sounds like Axl playing a character for Halloween or something like that. Like, it just doesn't work at all. And I didn't like it. So.
And it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the album at all either. And then to come.
It sounds like it should have been on Chinese Democracy.
Yeah, so maybe that was kind of a little breadcrumb for what's about to come.
That being said, every track on Chinese Democracy is better than My World too. So
yeah, no, for sure.
Anyway,
Yeah, Chinese Democracy is a really interesting one because I think it is. It does have a lot of good stuff on it.
It does.
It's just very hard for me to listen to that album as a Guns N' Roses album. Like that's where it really confuses me. If I just pretend that it's a different band, or that it's another project that Axl's doing, then it's a much more palpable listen for me. But
I find it also sounds like it's not cohesive. Like there's a lot of all the songs are all over the place. There's nothing. There's great moments on it, but it's all just kind of. I would have liked something. I would have liked something to bring it home a little bit and made it a body of work as a book. It sounds like it's 15 years worth of songs that Axl worked on one at a time, and he's like, "Ah, fuck it, here we go, compilation."
Yep.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yep.
So, anyways, My World sucks.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. So, I mean, I haven't added these up yet, but I mean, I think for me, it's a landslide for me. I only picked 3 songs from 2, so I think it's definitely going to be probably 1 as the winner, but we'll see. That was good. That was a fun one. Now the interesting
thing. I would definitely say too for actually surprisingly, when we were doing this, we go track for track. I think I might have picked more from number 2 than I might have thought I would have.
Yeah, you seem pretty even, or maybe slightly more too.
But I'm with you.
There's
that's
just
the winner by far.
Yeah, it's just for me. It's just more rocky, right? It's more Guns N' Roses-y for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
funny enough, though, I do remember a statistic that during the first week of release, like obviously there was no doubt that it was going to be number 1 on Billboard. However, number 2 was in the number 1 place on Billboard, and Use Your Illusion 1 was in the number 2 spot.
Yep.
So more people wanted to buy Use Your Illusion 2 than Use Your Illusion 1. But I'd be curious to know which one sold more, too.
That's true. And you know what? Doing a bit of research for this, number 2 is really the more loved record for sure. I mean, most chat forums, most reviews put number 2 way above 1. So yeah, I don't know. I've always just loved 1 much more. I have a lot of problems with 2. It's just always been that way. I don't know. Let me just check out the sales here. So 1, so it says on Wikipedia, it just says that it sold 7 times platinum in the States alone, which is crazy. So let's do number 2. Yeah, number 2 kind of shows the same numbers. I imagine that most people would probably buy both records, right?
You'd have to.
Yeah.
And let's be fair too. They did a really good job of mixing it up so you had to buy both, right?
Yeah.
Like Knocking on Heaven's Door, you could be minor on 2. November Rain, Live and Let Die are on number 1. But Civil War and A Stranger on number 2, I don't know. They to me, they did a good job of really mixing it up to make sure. I don't think there's anybody on earth that would be like, well, I like one and I hate the other. Like it would be any true fan of Guns N' Roses would need to own both for sure. Like there's no way around it. There's simply put, there's too many. If you were not to have one of these, there's some glaring omissions in your GNR collection. So
yeah. So I think from what I've been just quickly Googling right now, I think number 2 would have sold more initially, and that's what you were saying, which seems to be true, right? That like at first, 2 is definitely selling more. It seems like it probably evened out near the end, but
I would say that it could be because
You Could Be Mine, right?
You Could Be Mine was a single that came out like right before the album, whereas Live and Let Die was from Days of Thunder. Was it not? Or was that Days of Thunder came out in 1990, I think.
Yes, it did.
It was a Tom Cruise movie with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And GNR, whether it was Knocking on Heaven's Door or Live and Let Die, one of those songs was on that soundtrack. And that was
okay.
Right, so that's what kind of got the ball rolling for the album. Oh, it's coming. But You Could Be Mine was, it had the punch that you really need to get the albums, to get the hype rolling out for that. And also, like, Days of Thunder was a big movie, but it was also a year ago, like more than a year before that. It was the summer of '90, and Terminator 2 was 1991. Like, I can't, maybe with the exception of Batman Part 2, Terminator 2 was the biggest movie of the year. Like, I can't think of, The Addams Family also came out that year at Christmas time, but like, I can't think of another big, massive movie from that year. Or especially one that was, stands up quite so well as Terminator 2. I mean, it was groundbreaking and it was incredible, and it still holds up now. Everything about that movie is great, just like everything about You Could Be Mine is great. So,
all right, awesome, Jeff. Yeah, so I will have this video done shortly, and I'll let you know the winner. But I think it's probably going to be one. I
would agree. Another fine debate, sir.
That was great, Jeff. Yeah, great shootout, track per track. It's always fun.
We can put the 6 shooters down now, sir.
All right, going in the holsters. All right, cool, buddy. So yeah, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Jimmy Wolf Guitar Solo Countdown.